You know how we do when we do it, so let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Riffin with Riffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Today's episode, let's see. I saw the Thunderbolts movie. Loved it. Maybe spoilers, I don't know. Until Dawn. Definitely spoilers in that one. Crazy movie. Shannon Sharpe situation is getting weird. An old lover is coming out with some stuff. Plus, some news and notes from around the world. But this is real Whoa, 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 whoa. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I actually was out of town, and it was like hard to do it. You know, especially when I do it live. I probably should have pre-recorded one, but it just was one of those things, you know, because I was out on the road with Mr. Refe, and I will tell you about that. What a fantastic time we had there. And what else? Yeah, you know, welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. So make sure you hit the sub button because you should. You know, you never know when I'm going live or I'm posting some videos. So you need to, like, you know, to be a part of the action, make sure you do that. Hit me on the Twizzitch. You know, you could be a sub. And as you know, I have Patreon. I've just been so busy with everything. I haven't been able to get to finishing up the studio, but it's coming. I know I keep saying that, but whatever. If I keep doing this, what does it matter? I'm still doing the podcast. I'm still going to be going and going and going. So it's like, whatever, right? But thanks for being here, everybody. Riffin with Griffin. So what's going on in my world? I don't know, dude. Let's see. I went out with Matt Refe. We went to Vegas, you know. We were staying at it was the MGM Grand, like, theaters, like 10,000 people. So that was awesome. Man, it's just awesome, dude. To perform in a stadium, and, you know, 10,000 people plus, crazy. So we did that, and then we went to Red Rocks. And Red Rocks, man, I don't know if you've ever been to Red Rocks in Colorado, but what a magnificent place to perform. You know, it's just this outdoor amphitheater with all these red rocks. You know, they basically built it into the mountain, and it's just this beautiful setting, man. And, you know, I don't know how many thousands of people were there, but it's just, that was amazing, man. It's just amazing to see, you know. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't know if I would go to a comedy show, you know, at an arena, you know, for instance, like, because I've done a few arenas with him. Because, you know, you're just people sitting up in the booty seats, and you're just like, what? You know, even one thing I'll say about the MGM theater, wherever we were, I'm not sure the name of it. But one thing that was great about it was they had these really great, like, you know, monitors, you know what I mean? And they looked great. Like, even if you were, I saw people, like, even if they were sitting like 10 rows away from the stage, you still found yourself looking up at these monitors because it was so crisp and clear. Like, great technology, you know? So, I mean, I guess when you go to, what do you call it? When you go to a thing like that, it's not necessarily because you're like, oh, I'm a huge fan of this person's comedy, so much as you're like, you know, you want to be a part of the experience, you know? It's like, being a part of Matt Refe, if you're a fan of his right now, I mean, I guess it is an experience, you know what I mean? It's not just about like, oh, I like his comedy, or like, you know, you just like him. You know what I mean? You like him and you want to be a part of this thing that you're like, man, I was a fan of that guy. When people were just walking up to him, like, all ages, old people, young people, just, they're like, oh man, I just saw your TikTok and I loved it, blah, 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 and I was just like, wow. It's so like, this is like, him and I are just completely different, like I come from an era where people would say like, oh man, I loved you on Workaholics. I loved you on this, or, maybe they saw some stand-up or something like that, right? This is like a completely different thing. Like, social media is equivalent, if not better than, reaching more people than, traditional media. So just to see it up close like that is real crazy. And then, man, I'll tell you something about Matt, dude. He got some crazy stalkers, dude. He got stalkers, This like weird lady hits me up, you know what I mean? Because this happens a lot. I've shown you guys many times how these women, who think they're talking to Matt, but they're being catfished. You know what I mean? Like they always start the same too. Hey Erik, I'm surprised we haven't met because Matt and I have been together for like 6 months, and I know how close you guys are. But I haven't heard from him, and I'm worried, he needed that $10,000 for that surgery. It's that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, oh no. Now, some people say you don't even respond. Some people say it's just better to not respond and just let it go. You know what I'm saying? But I feel bad for these people because I think that sucks that they're, especially with AI and all the technology that's out there. I mean, really, like, lonely people are getting, like, taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? All in the name of this guy that, like, has nothing to do with, doesn't know them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just weird, So I get this weird message, man. I looked at the Instagram thread. If I look at it right now, let me just look at it right now. I'm not going to show you guys, but I'm going to let me just look at it right now, just so we can get like a sense of how crazy this is. So sometimes people just like, it's like casual at first. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, well, this is fine. This doesn't seem too crazy, because I don't know who's sending me messages or why they're sending me the messages. You know what I mean? You don't know. So you just kind of like, you just go, oh, okay, hey, what's up? Or sometimes I'll give a heart to I do that at a lot of times somebody will send me a message. I don't have time to read all the messages or even respond because there's so many. So I just give it a little heart. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for, thank you. It's like, I think that's good. I'm showing some appreciation, I guess. You tell me if that's not enough. But no, I guess a lot of times nobody thinks anything's enough. You know what I mean? They're like, you need to send me more. You know what I mean? They're like, I need more. You need to show me how much you love me. How much, So, I don't know, dude. So, let's see. Let's see if I can find. I don't even know if I can find this. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So, all right. So okay, here we go. This is the timeline. So I had that picture of Matt and I on the tarmac, you know what I mean? And then this is the first message. I love him so much. Okay, great. Heart, good for you. Glad you love him. You know what I mean? And then she sends me like another message, but still innocent. Like, she says, look up the Refe machine. Not kidding. I thought that was funny. Then I looked it up. And I was like, oh, okay. It's a funny machine, you know what I mean, with the same name. So I'm like, all right, cool. Somebody in the chat said, go see Sinners. I will. Then I'm just going to read you the first. Like, I didn't even get to this message because I saw this, okay? I apologize for using you as a middleman, but I wanted to make sure it's clear that I want nothing to do with Matt any longer. Okay. So then when I see that, and then let me tell you something, it's a long message, okay? And I'm like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I know for a fact this person doesn't know Matt, has never met Matt. You know what I mean? Never met him in her entire life. somebody saying, go see Sinners. I'm going to go see Sinners. I just haven't had a chance, but I will. I heard it's amazing. I'm going to check it out. I'll give you guys a full review. So anyways, okay, so now, all right. This is, like I say, it's crazy, So then we're at the MGM Grand, And first of all, I've never seen these areas of some of these hotels, So wait. I have to even go back. I get to Vegas because we're working on Matt's special, okay? So him and I work on how does he want it to look, whatever. So, but we went to the hockey game, and by the way, shout out to the Knights, congratulations. What an exciting game! I'll get back to the crazy chick, but so I got there on a Tuesday. We went to the playoff game, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. We had these great seats. He did the siren thing. I've never even known that was a thing, but he did the thing, and then it's just an exciting ass game, man. Hockey's the most engaging live sport ever. You know what I mean? It just is. It's such an engaging live sport, right? So they this is how it ended. It was so exciting. So it was 2-2, and then Minnesota scores with 2 minutes left, maybe a minute left, right? Minnesota scores. So they challenge, the ref looks to see if it was interference, because it looked like it was interference, right? So it's not interference, and the crowd is like, boo! Everybody's upset, like, wow, they're about to lose. And then his coaches challenged for offsides, Then they showed a replay, and the crowd's like, oh, wait a minute, Then the ref skates out, and it's just like this sort of tense moment. And he's like, after further review, offsides, It was like, and the place erupted. It was so exciting, And then, of course, they won in overtime, They scored a goal in overtime, which was super exciting. But I was saying, I think that ref should have milked that. I would have, if I was the ref in that tense playoff moment, I would have came out and been like, after further review, there was some discussion. We have decided, all the referees together in a collective have gone through thoroughly all of the footage, and we have, hold on a second, my wife is calling. Yes, babe. Yes, I'll take the pot roast. Yeah. I gotta go though, babe. I'm making a call. See ya. Where was I? Offside. Then the place would have went fucking crazy. Mad at him, but it was cool. All right. Okay, so I fly in. They pick me up at the airport, take my bags to the hotel. I go right to the game, and then we get to this hotel, and then they had upgraded him to this penthouse suite in the Cosmopolitan. I mean, bananas. Just the view and the marble, beautiful. So then we had to check out of that hotel and go over to the MGM Grand. So we get, they pick him up, they take him to this secret elevator, and we go up to the floor that has all the the dope rooms, the high roller room type things. And, there's a special check-in desk. And I was like, wow, this is how you do Vegas. I've never, you know what I mean? If you're going to do Vegas, you do it like this. They even checked me in, but then I had to go downstairs to the Riff Raff area, So now we're at the MGM Grand. Okay, so I told you. So I get this, like I said, I got the weird message from the chick, and I was like, okay, I'm done. First sentence, I'm out, okay? All right, so now I'm just chilling in my room, and I go downstairs. I get out the elevator. It's crowded, Then this girl, this lady, maybe in her late 30s, early 40s, I don't know. She says, Erik Griffin, Now, usually when somebody says my name like that, I'm usually thinking, okay, this is going to be a workaholics thing. This is going to be something. I know you from a podcast. I know it's usually something like that. So normally I'm they're like, oh my God, Erik Griffin. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Then she says, it's Matt's friend. And then in my mind, I go, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And then, I go, oh, hey, because I'm like, I know you're not Matt's friend. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, did you get my message? And I'm like, oh God, didn't it just dawn? I get chills because I'm like, this is creepy as. I go, yeah, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So I can leave and I hit up security right away. You know what I mean? I hit up his security. I go, look, just be aware, just a crazy chick here. You know, I say to Matt, just look out, man. One of these, you know, girls that just thinks you guys are, you know, a thing. You know, so we go. He says, I'm at the cafe, man. I'm like, oh, I'm coming. You know what I mean? So I go meet him at the cafe, and he's sitting there by himself. You know what I mean? And so I go, hey, what's up? You know, I look around. I'm like, all right, the chick didn't follow me or nothing, you know? So we sit there for like an hour. We eat dinner, you know, we eat. And then the girl walks in with a crazy hat on and another girl with her. And I go, and I see her too late. And I'm like, oh no. She comes over behind him, pats him on the shoulder like this. Real hard too. You could see it was hard. Hey. And walks away. Doesn't even stop and talk. Doesn't, you know, it was so weird, you know, like this. And then goes to a table. They sit down at a table for 2 seconds and then they get up and they walk out. Creepy. I mean, it was so creepy, so bizarre. I'm like, I know this person don't live in Vegas. You flew to Vegas for this? To do this? It's one thing like when a dude is a stalker to a woman, we're all on board. You know what I mean? Like immediately everybody's on board. Like, this is crazy. Police, you know, it's like a whole thing, right? We give women so much leeway to be crazy. You know what I mean? Like this chick, she was allowed to be crazy as hell for I don't know how long she was allowed to be crazy. But she just was crazy, you know? And she, you know, I think then I hear later it was like, oh, they tell me, oh, that's the one. She's got some Reddit where she's telling people, you know, that they're together and they've been in a relationship. And Matt's like, I have never talked to this woman in my life. I don't know who she is. And it's like, my God. I mean, people need help out there. So I hope this lady gets help because that was just a bizarre situation. All right, guys, we're all in it. You know, welcome to the podcast, I guess. You know, let me see if there was any. I think I looked at a few. Let me see what we got here on some comments, baby. Okay, so Tico481 3 days ago said, oh, this is from an episode where I was talking about this crazy Uber experience I had. And he was like, I feel like you ripped this story off from a middle-aged, upper-class white woman who has nothing to do but complain. Okay. You know what? That reminds me of something else that happened in Vegas. Okay, yeah, I complain, you know? You know what? Podcasting has made it weird because podcasting comes across like, it's like, this is the person who he is, you know? So I come from an era of a different time when like, you know, it's always a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of my comic friends like to like, when I'm around, I'll be the punching bag because I can take it, you know, they like my response. They start getting on me and I'm like, whatever I do, you know, then they're just like, they just pour it on. Bobby, Andrew, people like that, you know, and that's just become a thing. But then you start doing podcasts and it hits different. I realize now. Too late, but I realize now. Like I would go on, like Rick Glassman's another one. And see, this is the thing what people don't understand. I love Rick Glassman. Rick Glassman's like a brother to me. He was the officiant at my wedding. That's how much I love Rick Glassman, okay? But like, we weren't always close. And then like when I go on Rick's podcast, he does like a lot of weird stuff. And so I'm responding like, damn, you're being weird, you know? And so like, I think him and I are doing a bit, but then it's perceived as like, oh man, that guy's being mean or that guy's complaining or that guy's whatever. So, you know, you don't always look at comments or whatever it is like that. And the next thing you know, you wake up and people are saying these things about you like a year later. And I'm like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. You know what I mean? It's like when I go do acting jobs and I get reviews of my acting, it's always like the lovable Erik Griffin. You know, they always say that's one of the things I get. You know, like on screen I'm a certain way, and I realize it's like, you know, you don't really want to know everything about a person. So because we're doing podcasts and stuff like this, you kind of get a extra view about, you know, how a person is and who they are. You know, and so then, you know, boom, you get this label. You know what I mean? I mean, my comedy is about observations. You know, observations sometimes come across as complaints, but I just feel like that's also a funny observation depending on how you relay the thing. But anyways, whatever. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just saying I see how it's turned into this thing. But anyways, I'm in Vegas. I'm at the MGM Grand. One of the reasons why we left the MGM Grand, because we actually ended up being back at the Cosmopolitan, the whole team, was because they were doing construction at the MGM Grand, like full-on construction in the hotel. So as soon as they check him in, right? And then when he's got his keys, they go, oh, hey, by the way. Then they drop this, there's going to be construction noise. And he's like, what? And then they go, oh, and the water might be off for a certain time. But we have another place you can go to take a shower. I mean, that's wild, right? You know what I mean? So then I'm in my room in the riffraff area, and they didn't even give me that warning. You hear what I'm saying? It was as if it was like Shawshank Redemption, and Tim Robbins was, you know, burrowing through walls in the next cell right next to me with a sledgehammer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was, I put it on Instagram. Just me going like, thanks, you know, just look, no noise, no talking, just, you could hear the clanking, all right? Some idiot hits me up on Instagram, like a real idiot, you know, and he's like, oh man, you know, all you do is complain. I'm like, what? Okay, I get it if I'm in the middle of doing some bit, and then you say, oh man, all you do is complain. I'm with you, okay. But who would put up with that? Like, the noise was crazy. It was crazy. At 7 a.m. the shit started. Clang, 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 clang. Like literally above me, and it was going on. Or like I would have walked outside and there'd be no hotel, just my room. That's the amount of noise it was. And this guy, I was so mad. And then it just made me think of this whole preamble I said to you. I was like, oh man, this sucks. You know what I mean? You know, I got 3 messages like that. Somebody else was like, man, you really are the GOAT of complaining. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is something anybody would complain about, right? So you just go, oh man, I guess that's why I'm talking about this now, because I'm thinking about like, oh man, I put myself in this situation. You know what I mean? But I mean, it is what it is at this point. The cat's out the bag now, right? So nothing I could do. But I mean, come on. There should be times it's like you go, yeah, I understand. Right? Anyways. You know, I don't know. Oh, this is funny. I thought this was a funny, fun comment, right? But I realized the guy's being a complete asshole. Because his next comment is, whatever happened to the Lyft driver? You suck and are not funny. All right, let's get rid of that guy. We'll never see him again. I don't care if he lives or dies. All right, anyways, let's get back to it. Oh, somebody said, Eric, NBA on TNT has a picture of you on the Gone Fishing with the Clippers. Yes, I made it. Yeah, that was so funny. A TNT put that picture of me up. But you know what? I think I got it right here. Actually, let me go to it. I can show you guys. Yeah, man. You know, I don't know if you watch TNT, but the basketball. You know, when the team loses. So it's the TNT basketball broadcast with, you know, inside the NBA with Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, and Shaquille O'Neal. So when somebody loses, you know, a team gets kicked out of the playoffs, they put up this thing called Gone Fishing. Wait, I thought I had it here, man. Oh, man, that sucks. I don't know where it is. And so I had it. Wait a minute. I'm going to find this picture. Hold up, guys. This is like, what are we talking about here? Yeah, why isn't it right here? I mean, I don't understand what happens to your pictures. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure this thing is in my. You know what? I'm just gonna send it to myself from my phone. But yeah, so then I didn't even know because I wasn't watching the games live. Yeah, here it is right here. Like, why isn't it not on my computer? So crazy. All right, so we'll just share it. That's what I love about the Mac universe. You could just copy and paste, and pictures just come right to your devices. Isn't that great? It says sending, boom, and there it is. All right, so let's open. Okay, here you go, guys. So then, yeah. So they put up gone fishing. Yes, look at me next to fucking Adam and Blake. I made it. It's funny because Blake is not even a Clippers fan. He's from the Bay Area. He's a huge Warriors fan. So I hit him up. I said, look, man, I showed him the picture. Well, that's it. You're officially a Clippers fan now. And he's like, I'm not a Clippers fan. He's like, he sends a picture of himself with like 4 championship trophy memes. And I'm like, yo, dude, that's old business. You're a Clippers fan now. So I thought that was fun. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And one of those things, man. One of those things, homies. I made it. All right. Let's see. I mean, I love the hide user from channel. That's one of YouTube's greatest things, because the people that write real nonsense, they don't know. They think it's still there. It's actually beautiful. But anyway, okay. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm listening to the pod, and you're talking about the show Last of Us. You got to play the game. I think you will love the first game because you're a father, and with watching the show, you can see the difference. The second game, the story is frustrating, but the gameplay is amazing. It's worth checking out." Everybody said that, but I just don't like games like that. I don't like those kind of first-person games. I like open-world games. Maybe it's an open-world game. I don't think that it is. Somebody should let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's like a story mode game where you have to go where they tell you to go. It's kind of like the campaign mode on Call of Duty. I never play it because I want to go wherever the hell I want to go. I hate that you have to follow this just contrived story. I never like it. Anyways. People love talking about that shit. Let's see. Somebody said, thanks for the shout out, Griff. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, that guy's got to go. Oh, there's something going on about Fisker. Yeah, somebody said something about Fisker. You guys, they just, man, Fisker, I don't know what's going on with that company now, but it's like, I'm still in the forum. You hear all this stuff that you hear about the company. It's crazy. You know what I mean? But anyways, enough of the comments. It's always some bullshit in here. Sometimes I get sometimes there's some really good ones, some fun ones, and I just want to read them. You know what I mean? Okay, so now I got to tell you a story. This is old business, but okay, so Maddie Stanskik, I don't even know if I'm saying her name right, but her Instagram's in the comments, okay, in the description of the show. But I was in what do you call it? I was in Kansas City. This is her. She's a really funny comic, Gotta tell you, she's funny. So just so you know, guys. So I'm out in Kansas City, and she's opening. And she's an artist. And she says to me, Erik, I want to give you a gift. Can you send me a picture of your... And she sells her art after the shows, and I saw it. I was like, it's some fantastic stuff. She's actually a really great artist. So she goes, can you send me a picture of your son? And I will draw, because I want to draw it so I can make a painting of it. And I go, okay, but I'm only gonna be here 3 days. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my mind, I'm already thinking well, okay, have you already started, or why didn't I thought she grabbed a picture already from my Instagram or something. So I'm like, okay. So this is the picture that I sent her. All right? Just Wolf being, I sent her that one and another one, okay? And I was like, yeah, okay, here you go. Okay, so then, like, last day, she's like, hey, kind of apprehensively, like, hey, I got the picture. Here's the picture. She's like, it's a little rough. I've been working on it to try to fix it. What? So this is the original. Boom. And this is the picture. So I'm like, yeah, I've always wanted to see my kid if he was, touched by an angel, let's say. Like, yeah, I want to see my kid when he's 47. Thank you for this aging photo. But you know what, though? When I see the picture, I can see her talent as an artist, But like a police sketch artist, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be her calling. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I don't know if this might not be your thing. Like if she was a police sketch artist, they would never find the criminal. Because they would be like, they'd be looking for the criminal's father. But shout out to her, though. She's really funny. So I just thought that was a funny little moment. So I wanted to send you guys that. All right, let's just get into some more stuff here, guys. Man, I've been yapping and yapping for so long. Somebody said it looks like Martin Short. Crazy. So, anyways, guys, this Shannon Sharpe stuff. I talked about it last week a little bit. It's crazy. It's funny because somebody left a comment like, I said, I don't think we should know about this. And he was like, Eric said, we shouldn't know about this. And then cut to Eric talking about it. Well, I mean, it's already out there. I'm saying none of it should have been put out. But now that it's out, yeah, you talk about it. So I don't know. So now, like a former lover of his, who apparently there's been lawsuits going on since 2013, or she filed a restraining order against him, and then like it got thrown out, and then she had all these claims, and then he's suing for defamation, and turns out she was actually married at the time. It's very weird circumstances, but it's just somebody else that because of this thing with him in the public right now. Somebody's pouring on more. So I don't know if it's true or not. It's like alleged, but this is kind of what happens in these situations. Even Brett Favre was trying to reopen his lawsuit. He had a defamation lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe for him saying stuff about him on Fox, and that was thrown out or whatever. He didn't win it, but now he's trying to bring, it's like you pouring gas on the fire. So I don't know. I mean, if there's any legal people that listen to my podcast, because here's the thing that I don't understand: the timeline of this with this Jane Doe. Even though I thought they knew who she was, because I had read that the girl that I showed last week was the girl with an Instagram, but whatever. It's the OnlyFans model, whatever. Here's the thing I don't understand: what are okay, so. You're in a 2-year relationship with this guy, and you feel like he's done a crime. Okay, so then what are your options now? Your options are A, you go directly to the police. Okay, you go to the police. Okay, part 1 is you go to the police. You file a report. Maybe you think you don't have enough evidence, or you can't prove it, or you feel like, this guy's so rich and powerful, or, whatever your thing is. If you feel, because a lot of women are scared to go to the cops, whatever. Okay, I get that. So that's option 1. So option 1 is, then what's the option? You don't go. You don't say anything? Okay, so option 2 then would be, maybe you're going to the police and you're saying to them, hey, I can get this guy on tape to tell, because I thought it was illegal to record people without their knowledge. I don't think that's admissible in court, right? You just recording stuff, and I think there has to be I know there's laws against this. So is that A2 the option where you say, hey, or you tell yourself, Or you don't go to the cops and you go, you know what? I don't have enough evidence. Let me go back into this abusive situation, set up cameras, set up video, audio recording so I can capture the bad stuff. And then I'm going to go to the cops and go, look what I got. This is what this guy did to me. Don't know if that's even admissible, in court, or is it enough to get a guy arrested? Maybe. All right, that's option A. That's not what she did. Option B is, you record all this stuff, and then you go to a lawyer and you go, look at what I have on this guy. What can we do? And then what? Then the guy, they go to the guy and go, hey, listen, we got all this on you. What you want to do? Now, it's either A or B. It's either A, hey, we have all this stuff on you, turn yourself in, or what it is. Or give me $50 million. But this is the thing, though. Is it about, hey, we're going to go to the cops, which would be, what do you call it, extortion. That's actually against the law, from my understanding. You can't just, threaten, you know what I mean? Because at this point, if you've recorded all this stuff, you have all these recordings without the person's knowledge, without a warrant from a judge being like, you're allowed to record because we're looking for evidence, like they did to Jared from Subway. Crazy documentary about that. Right? You got to go watch that shit. But anyways, so that's not what happened, So she has all these recordings. She gets this lawyer who's notorious for this, right? Apparently, I don't know. And then goes to him and says, it's more about the embarrassment of it. Like, hey, do you want this out? We'll put this out. So then he sits down and is like, I don't want to see none of this stuff you got. He knows what kind of relationship they were in. It was 2 years. He realizes, this chick been recording. And he's like, all right, let's, his lawyer just says, just settle. You know what I mean? You got the money, just settle and get this done with. It's a substantial amount of money. They reject it. But once they rejected that amount of money, how can they move forward? How can there be a case? That's the thing that I want to know. I want to know, how can there be a case now? Because she recorded all this stuff illegally, right? And is she going to put this stuff, present this in court? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how that's going to work. It's like, so how can a case even move forward at this point? So I just think it's the kind of thing where it's like, and now I hear that they have, because obviously she had a camera and she set him up. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, she's got cameras and video and audio recordings. And she's like, and she's like, and she knows what she's saying too. She's saying the right stuff, kind of egging him on to be like whatever was going on in their relationship. But what I'm saying though is like, you have all this. Isn't that all you could do now? That's the play. The play is, I'm going to release all this. Are you going to pay me this amount of money? If he says, nah, I'm not going to pay you, go ahead, release it. So then, so they're releasing stuff, but how's that going to be in the court? You know what I mean? What are they going to get out of this? Unless they're going to go to TMZ and these places and be like, yeah, here's the sex tape, so give me such amount of money and we'll give it to you guys exclusively. I mean, I guess they can make money that way because the court of public opinion, people, this publicity and how people are talking about it like this on podcasts and stuff, maybe it's newsworthy where people want it, but I don't see how this can move forward from here. What is the next step? And can they actually go to court? Can there be a civil trial based off, illegal text messages? Illegal recording of someone. That's what I want to know. So you let me know, all you would-be paralegals and stuff out there. Because at this point now, it's all about public embarrassment. It's all about the more stuff that comes out and then the more people are talking about it. Monique is on stage talking about it, because she was on his podcast, on Club Shay Shay, and she's saying, you need to stay away from these young white girls. And now this happened. Now she's on stage being like, I told him, you know what I mean? So it's everybody's taking advantage of it, right? So We'll see. All right, guys, let's get to it. So let's get to the movie reviews right now. Wait, I think, like, how do you put, let me see. Yeah, add stream marker. Boom. There it is. Marker, Thunderbolts. So I saw Thunderbolts. I guess, spoiler alert? I don't know. Should there be a spoiler alert on this? I'm not going to reveal too much, but the Thunderbolts is directed by I know this guy, Jake Schreier, because he directed some episodes of I'm Dying Up Here. Really cool dude. I think he's a great director. I think he's an actor's director. And I think he made a really fantastic movie. I absolutely love Thunderbolts. I highly recommend it, And the thing is, so the Thunderbolts are about the misfit off sort of like bad guy characters from the Marvel universe. You got Winter Soldier. So you guys already know, played by Sebastian Stan, and Sebastian Stan is that dude is just a great actor. Okay, so you got him. So he's like, he was the Winter Soldier. Hydra was using him, and then Captain America saved him, and now he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Somewhat, right? So, but he's got a checkered past. So you got the Winter Soldier, and then you got what's his name? Wait, let me get all the characters. I want to get the characters right. And then you got Florence Pugh. She's Yelena, Belova, which is like Black Widow's sister. So again, she's got a checkered past. She was brought up, in the Widows. So she's a killer. She's been killing people. You know what I mean? She's just a mercenary hitman. You get what I'm saying? But she's a great. Listen, Florence Pugh is a fantastic actress. So that's again. So you have this sort of like bad guy, good guy character played by a really great actor. So that's two now. Because you got Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier. Now you got the new Black Widow. Same thing, that they're great. Then you got, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, you know what I mean? Elaine from fucking Seinfeld is just, she's playing Valentina Allegra, blah, 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 whatever her name is. She's so good. Like, she's just good in everything. You know what I mean? So she's a villain. And so she's playing a villain, and she's freaking great, okay? She's a great actress, okay? Then you got David Harbour, who's playing the Red something. He's like this Russian Captain America super soldier. If you saw the Black Widow movie, you met him there. He's so good. He's like the comic relief. He's this aging, super soldier guy. Again, being used by the Kremlin, you know what I mean? But he's just a great actor. Then you got Wyatt Russell. He's playing like he was in the series with it was Winter Soldier and Falcon, that one, you know what I mean? And he was like the new Captain America, but he like killed somebody publicly in the series, and so now he's kind of a villain. He's a mercenary again. But this guy, again, great actor. And then you have these other characters, these, that just kind of like, well, who are these guys? You know what I mean? What's the guy? There's Lewis Pullman. Yeah, Lewis Pullman. He's a new character. He plays Rob Reynolds. He's like so there's some secret, Lewis, what's her name? What's the chicken name's? Julia, Valentina, she's running some Black Ops like SHIELD type thing, and she's trying to create her own superhero because the Avengers are gone. And, so it's kind of like how that goes haywire, right? But, okay, let me just say what I want to say about this movie, all right? It's shot well. It's a simple story with just really great acting, Like, regardless of, like, let's say this was a standalone movie that had nothing to do with the Marvel universe or whatever, and you had these group of actors together with this story. It was standalone and it would shine. I just think that it just reminded me of great movie making, that we kind of get lost in the special effects and just making a Marvel movie because superhero movies are the thing for the last 15 years. But this is one of the, like, there are some great Marvel movies. Like if you think about some of your favorite movies in the series leading up to Endgame, okay? Like that stretch of movies leading up to Endgame, there was some great movies. Like Civil War was great, when like you found out who killed Iron Man's parents and this fight that they're having and like how Robert Downey Jr. was acting in it and Chris Evans, like, it was like, regardless of the superhero stuff, there was like, oh, there's some real stuff going on here. Those are my favorite Marvel movies when they got that going on. Or some that are like really funny, like Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was super funny. Like the jokes hit, the action was great. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. And then, of course, you got Endgame, which was just a freaking phenomenal end to like 13-year buildup. And now they're trying to start over, and they're doing a really shitty job. Like, they're not doing well. Okay? Some of these movies are just really bad. But, there's a couple hits in there, but for the most part, they're not very good. But this last Deadpool Wolverine was great. Great movie in that universe. And then they had all that stuff happen with Jonathan Majors. So that kind of derailed their whole storyline where they were going to this big buildup. You know what I mean? So that sucked, Then you got Doctor Strange. He's great. He's trying to like take the mantle of what's his name? Cumberbatch is great. So he's like taking the mantle of Robert Downey Jr. as being like this really taking it serious actor. But those movies are trash. The Doctor Strange, the last one, ugh. You know what I mean? So they're really trying, man. They're trying. Now Fantastic Four is coming. They got Pedro Pascal, so maybe he can take the mantle, but I just think Florence Pugh is just like, she's it. She really is great, man. And so, this one was a good one. I thought this was a great, like, let's take it to the next direction. Then of course you have to wait to the end credits because you see like some stuff that, how they're crossing all the worlds together finally, so we'll see, man. We'll see. But I do highly recommend, somebody said, like the first time you see Winter Soldier, that was a great movie too. The Winter Soldier, that was a great one too. There were some duds, Age of Ultron was a dud. First Captain America, dud. First two Thors, dud. But you needed those movies because they told a story that we found out later. So I love the buildup of it, right? But this one, Thunderbolts, this was a great movie. I'm telling you right now, okay? If you've ever listened to me at all, check this out. Go check this one out. This was great. Like I say, I thought the performances were fantastic. The story was great, and the filming was great. Like when Winter Soldier shows up in the desert, man, somebody said it like Terminator. It was great, man. I don't know, like it was shot the way it was shot, and he just comes out of this smoke and he's like on his motorcycle. I was like, oh man, it was dope. The action was good. It just I can't say enough about it. So this movie, I give it a 10. It gets 10 woo woos, right? Or is it 5? Do I do 5? Is it like? Well, let's say 5 is the best. Woo, 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 woo. So go check that out, man. Really good. Okay, so another movie that I actually saw this one with Matt. Matt loves scary movies, so we were out in Vegas. Were we in Vegas? Yeah, we were in Vegas. He was like, you want to go see a movie? I was like, yeah, let's go see this movie. So we went to go see this movie called Until Dawn. Okay, a group of friends trapped in a time loop where mysterious foes chase and kill them in gruesome ways must survive until dawn to escape. Yeah, I mean, this is a basic ass scary movie, okay? And I think it's based off a video game. I don't know, but I didn't hate it, but I'll never see it again. This movie had all the classic cliche scary movie things. I don't know how many times a white girl fell down while she was running in this movie. I mean, like at least, like the over under is like 3.5. There's an over under on how many times a white girl is just like, oh my god, and then she just trips and falls. But it's very much like it's like a scary movie with the Groundhog Day element. It's like Groundhog Day is like a great what do you call it movie story plot, that what they're using because this is in a lot of movies now, and it's great in a scary movie. Like I say, I didn't hate it, because I will say this, There's like 3 or 4 moments in this movie where I was in the theater like this. God damn! You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, shit! Because it was like, so they had some good jump scares, some good, like, there was a couple of good villains. They had, again, they just threw in all the cliche scary movie stuff. A scary guy in a mask with a machete, a old creepy woman, white girls falling. Everybody's pretty. There was an asshole guy who you were waiting for him to get killed because he was such an asshole. That kind of thing. It's just like the whole premise of the movie is ridiculous, really. And then, it's like that same kind of thing, a group of young, hot people go into a scary house, and for some reason, these motherfuckers split up. Some crazy stuff already happened outside where you know what? Some supernatural shit is going on, and these motherfuckers split up. If you with me, if there's 6 of us, and some supernatural nonsense happens outside where we're like, oh shit, some scary shit is happening. When we inside, I'm like, we staying together, okay? We are staying together. Why are we splitting up, going into dark hallways and in dark ass basements? Why would you do that? And then once you find out, here's one spoiler. So, again, it's a Groundhog Day thing. So, after 4 or 5 times they all been killed, they haven't survived the night. So now they decide to stay together, and they in a bathroom in this creepy old house, and they drink water from the faucet. Everybody, why would you do that? You in some creepy nightmare house that don't look like anybody been there for years. You obviously see what's happening. You're dying and coming back to life, and new shit is happening, and you drink the water from the faucet? Really? And then of course some bad shit happens to him. You know what I mean? So I can't say not to watch this movie, because I will say, like I say, when you finish with it, you're going to finish with the movie, and then you're going to be like, okay, all right. You walked out of that movie, you weren't disappointed. How about that? It wasn't disappointing. It just wasn't it wasn't great. You know what I mean? You just was like, okay, let's get out of here. Oh, man, I've been yip-yapping for a long time. We got to get to our, you know what? Let's get to the NBA, guys. So, I don't know about you, but if you're watching the NBA, this shit is fantastic. The second round, this is the first time ever that all the home teams lost in the first round. Every single one of these matchups are great. So you got the Indiana-Cleveland. Indiana's going to beat them. I don't think Cleveland can win 4 games in a row with all the injuries that they have. And Halliburton, that dude is the business. They called him the most overrated player in the NBA. He took that personal, and he is giving it to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We forget that Indiana was in the conference finals last year, and he got hurt. So now he's like, you know what? Great series. Knicks, Jalen Brunson. I mean, that dude's a dog. Boston should be beating the shit out of them. But the Knicks are like, yeah, man, we're not going no place. We have the clutch player of the year. This dude is a beast. He's got the heart of a champion. And, the Knicks won game 1 against Boston. Boston missing 45 3-pointers. At what point do you go, you know what? Maybe we should just take it to the basket. It just, I don't get that. It's the worst thing for the NBA is that they won a championship with that bullshit. That series is great. And then you have the other series. So, of course, here you are, the Golden State Warriors, back in again. I've never liked the Golden State Warriors, but you got to respect it. Here's Steph Curry and the Warriors. They get Jimmy Butler, and now they back in it again. They legit have a chance to go all the way. You thought Ant-Man was going to do it. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he has the ability right now to really put himself ahead of everyone. But he's joking, man. But he's 23, but still. But that series looks like it's going to go far. I think it's going to. See, if Anthony Edwards gets his shit together, I think that they're going to they could beat the Warriors. But if they keep playing like this, and also again, Steph Curry is hurt, so we don't know his status or if he's going to come back later in the series, and how effective will he be. So we'll see. But right now, winning game 1 for the Warriors is great. So now he definitely won't play game 2. They get like 3 or 4 days rest until they got to go to game 3. Maybe don't play him then. You can go down 2-1, and then he comes back fully healthy. We'll see what happens with that. And then of course, another heart of a champion you can't get rid of is freaking the Denver Nuggets, man. The Denver Nuggets fire their coach a week before the playoffs. And Jokic is out here animated. He looks like a big-ass Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is like playing within himself. And they go in there and they steal game 1 against this young Oklahoma City Thunder team. I think Denver's going to win that series just because of experience alone and just like the will and the heart. The heart of a champion is a real thing, man. So we'll see. I mean, what do you want to see? What's a better story? You got Denver, Minnesota would be a rematch. Or do you want to see like the old, like the champions, Denver versus Golden State, Oklahoma City? They had a historic year. Do you want to see them in the championship? I don't know, but I'll keep you posted. I'm watching a lot of the games. I'm loving it. But anyways, guys, thanks for being here, for watching Riffin with Griffin. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit the sub button. Subbing is important. Hit the sub. You know what I mean? And hit me on Twitch, because I will be twitching. I'm going to be twitching in like maybe like 20 minutes. I'm going to be back online twitching. So go to Erik Griffin Gaming and hit me on the Patreon if you just want to support. I love that too. I got to get more. I just been on the road, just busy, but I should just be doing I don't like just doing it from my iPhone, but I guess I should do that. Just record some vlog stuff for my Patreon. But I like to put up like personal pictures there too. So if you want to see some good pictures of Wolf, but shout out to everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you, like I say, make sure you sub and all that. And you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week. And thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin and listening. All right, YouTubers, y'all too. Thanks for being here. And, I'll see you next week, y'all. Peace.